Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Our lesson is about advanced presentation skills. Before we proceed to the techniques in making an effective presentation, let's discuss first about the different types of presentation. Number one is informative. Keep an informative presentation brief and to the point. So, informative presentation serves to present specific information for specific audience for specific goals or functions. A presentation conveys information from a speaker to an audience. If we make an informative presentation, the audience will easily learn about the specific topic. By making presentation not informative, it will just waste the time and effort of the audience and listeners. Next is number two, instructional. Your purpose is an instructional presentation is to give specific direction or orders. Instructional is, is to give specific direction or orders. This type of presentation is mostly used by the technical and vocational education teachers because in tech voc we are polishing our skills by doing the instructions or step. Instructional presentation main purpose is to instruct students or people for them to be able to learn about the specific subject matter.
Decision making. Identify your goal and components. Your purpose in a decision making presentation is to move your audience to take your suggestion action. A decision making presentation present ideas, suggestion, and argument strongly enough to persuade an audience to carry out your request in a decision making. Present your You must tell the audience what to do and how to do it. You should also let them know what will happen if they don't want you to ask. Gain attention with a story that illustrates the problem. Show the needs to solve the problem and illustrate it with an example that is general or commonplace. Describe your solution to bring a satisfactory resolution to problem. Compare or contrast the two words with the problem solved and unsolved. Call the audience to action to help solve the problem and give them a way to be a part of the solution. Persuade, which the speaker has a goal to convincing audience to accept his or her point of view. Persuade. Your purpose is a persuade presentation is to convince your listener to accept your proposal. A convincing persuasive present offer a solution to a controversy, dispute, or problem. To succeed with a persuasive presentation, you must present sufficient logic, evidence, and emotion to sway the audience to your viewpoint. Create a great introduction because a presentation introduction must accomplish the following. Seize the audience attention, disclose the problem or needs that your product or service will satisfy. Tantalize the audience by describing the advantage of solving the problem or need. Create the desire for the audience to agree. Will you by describing exactly how your product or service will fill their real needs? Close your persuasive presentation with a call to action. Ask for the order. Ask for decision that you want to be made. Ask for the course of action that you want to be followed.
Minimize. Keep slides count to a minimum to maintain a clear message and to keep the audience attentive. Remember that the presentation is just a visual aid. Most important should still come from the reporter. In that being said, we should keep our slides to a minimum to maintain a clear message and to keep the audience attentive. And always remember that the presentation is just a visual aid and the most information should come from the reporter.
Clarity. Avoid being too fancy by using font style that is easy to read. Make sure that it is also big enough to be read by audience. Once you start making your presentation, consider how big the screen is during your report. There are different types of presentation. One good characteristics of an effective presentation is clarity. To achieve this, use a font style that is easy to read. Avoid loud and fancy. Know your audience. Use font size that is readable by the audience. Consider the big screen that will flash your report as well as the set of viewers. For some instance, you will have an audience that is old who has poor eyesight. Study your report and be comfortable. Do some researches. It must be concise and focus on topic.
Simplicity. Use bullets or short sentences. Summarize the information on the screen to help your audience focus on what the speaker is saying than on reading the slide. Limit the content to 6 lines and 7 words per line. This is known as the 6-7 rules. So you should use short sentences and summarize the information. Dahil dito, mas maiintindihan ng audience ang mga impormasyon na pinapahayag o nilalahad ng speaker. Mas mapapadali ang pag-intindi sa impormasyong pag in-explain ito ng speaker kaysa basahin lang ang impormasyon sa slide. The content should be 6 lines and 7 words per line. Ang rule na ito ay kilala bilang 6-7 rules.
Creating an effective presentation. Visual. Use graphics to help in your presentation, but not too many to distract the audience. In addition, instead of using table of data, use charts and graphs. Here's the other explanation. Key topics in your presentation can be reinforced and clarified with visual assistance. Engaging both the eyes and hearing of your audience members helps their comprehension and retention. Visual aids help to generate a sense of uniformity and balance as well as increase confidence in the validity of your message.
So the last part is contrast. Use a light font on dark background or vice versa. This is done so that it's easier to read. In most instances, it is easier to read on screen if the background is dark. This is due to the brightness of the screen. So, a great example of this is our presentation right now. So, as you can see, yung ginamit naming color of our background is white. Then, the color of the text that we use is black. Kasi yung black, nagka-contradict siya sa color white and light colors. So, this is very self-explanatory na naman. Another example is, if you're going to use two-tone colors like purple, blue. Mas maganda if you're going to use warm tone colors like orange and red kasi mas makikita yung text mo in that way. So, nakakatulong din to kasi mas magiging impactful yung presentation mo and mas i-imply mo yung information that you're trying to imply in your presentation. That's all.
That is all our report about advanced presentation skill. We hope you learned something and thank you for listening.